Okay, in deciding for a poem today, I decided to just go back and work my way up from 2003 to present day. So this is another 2003 poem, but it is going to be a heavier one. It deals with death. Back in 2003, my son was diagnosed with a rare disorder or disease. They haven't really determined which category it falls under, called Moyamoya. Now, Moyamoya can be kind of nasty. It sneaks up on you. It causes the circle of Willis, which is the main artery of the brain, to just narrow until a stroke. Now, in children, that stroke is caused by the narrowing of the artery that blocks the blood flow. Now, when the artery's narrowing, the body tries to find other ways to get blood around that area. The brain needs blood. So in adults, that would cause the burst, and you have a bleeder stroke. Moyamoya strokes are completely dealt with differently than other strokes. So if a doctor knows you have Moyamoya, they're going to treat you differently than if they know you don't have it as far as the cause for your stroke. Well, unfortunately, you usually get diagnosed with Moyamoya because you've had a stroke. Well, back in 2002, December of 2002 to be exact, my son had a stroke, and he was 11 years old. In the process of trying to find out what caused my 11-year-old son to have a stroke, I found out about Moyamoya. I found a support group, I found online info, and I was glad to have that support because the doctors didn't want to say Moyamoya. They would tell me that this is the treatment for this kind of stroke, but they wouldn't say for sure what his diagnosis was. It was frustrating. All the research pointed to it, and yeah, all the treatment was pointing to it, but we're not going to say the words. Well, during this time, I found out about a little girl that was also being treated for it. Now, Moyamoya doesn't just give you one stroke, and that's a one-time deal. It can have the potential of multiple strokes. My son was lucky, he had one stroke. But there was this little girl who'd had multiple strokes while they're trying to determine what's going on, what's causing it. Unfortunately, by the time they determined it and she had her surgery, she died on the table. This is all going on as I'm realizing this is the surgery my son is going to need. It was a hard time. And this little girl that I'd never met and only seen a picture of did not survive, and I had to figure out how I was going to go on if I ended up with the same issue. Was my son going to survive? And so when this little girl passed, it hit me hard. As it would any parent, any family member who has a small child that has stroke after stroke after stroke, and you're just trying to find out what's going on with your kid. And you finally find out, okay, they need surgery. They need brain surgery. Now, with most people, Moyamoya is bilateral, which means it affects both sides of the brain, and that was true for my son. And the test results showed that even though he had his stroke on the right side and lost use of his left arm, he was heading for a stroke on the left side. I knew that there was a good chance that my son would just continue to have strokes until he was incapacitated and then ultimately died from a stroke. Or I could have the surgery. Have him have this surgery. Have the doctors go in and do a bypass on both sides of his brain to restore the blood flow. Problem is, he could also die on the operating table. Surgery in general is rough. You can die from just anesthesia. There's never an easy surgery because it's rough on the body. There can be complications. All kinds of stuff can happen. And they're wanting to cut into my child's head. Yeah, my son survived it. He's now doing much better. Yes, there are still after effects, as there are with strokes. But this poem that I'm doing today is about the little girl. Her name was Arianna. And even now, this much time later, still thinking of what her mother went through, of the fear I had, because my son hadn't had his stroke yet. Yes, he had had his stroke. He didn't have his surgery yet. My son only had one stroke, where Arianna had multiples. But the risk is the same. So, yeah, it hit me hard. It still chokes me up, as you can see. Life isn't always happy. So, yeah, this is a heavier one. But people need to know about Moyamoya. They need to know to have doctors check other causes for strokes, especially if a child's having stroke after stroke after stroke. Don't just assume it's a typical stroke. Moyamoya is a nasty, nasty thing. So here's my poem about Angel Arianna. Oh, so young to go up above. Now she's watching and guiding over us. Arianna, such a perfect name for a Moyamoya angel. At 5 years old, she touched many hearts and continues to touch many more. Angel Arianna, her guardian forevermore. Thank you for watching. And yeah, even children can go young. So yeah, this is my video to educate a little bit about Moyamoya and to remember this little girl, Arianna, and the impact that she had on so many people that had dealt with this horrible thing called Moyamoya. Thank you.